Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Huk Central presented by Southern Wesleyan University. We're here for the final 9, round number 4 at the Locomotive course out at the Grand Central Station in the town of Central, South Carolina. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, joined by Hannah McBeth. And Hannah, a very, very tight battle, and just 9 holes remain. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Hole 10, par 3, 370 feet. Similar finish to some of the previous holes that we've seen, just that slight downhill, and it's going to want to pull your disc to the left, so you've got to put a little bit more angle on it. You don't really want that much angle, though.
Yeah, it looked a little tight to the right side. He's going to be outside circle 1, almost at pin high, but probably not much of a look from there.
Yeah, sort of forfeiting his birdie opportunity right off the bat.
And we see Paul currently our leader with just 9 holes left to play. MJ at 31, and this man, Chris Dickerson, sits 2 behind Paul.
It's interesting watching Chris Dickerson throw a disc so much. This is the most footage of Chris Dickerson I've ever watched, and he doesn't move his arm, his throwing arm. He just sort of moves his body around the disc. Kind of cool. Well, both of the Discraft boys are going to be scrambling from the rough.
On that right side, a little bit of trouble. Let's see if Evan Smith here can find the center of the fairway. That looks like a putter in his hands.
That looks like a great shot. Yeah, they're just not coming out of that flex line like they want. Not really sure why. Could be some wind getting up in that fairway, or maybe they're just got some nerves, a little bit too much power.
Thinking that they didn't get their mom a card for Mother's Day. That could be on the back of their mind as MJ punches out. He's still on the short right side. And this looks like a pretty veteran move here. Chris is just going to simply lay it up. We know how good of a putter is, and he kind of walks away with a smirk on his face, but he knows that was the right play, and Evan does the same.
Yeah, you don't want to go flying past the basket on this hole.
MJ was describing the rainbow that he had painted last night. Just a nice, pretty rainbow.
No.
I think Paul's still in South Carolina with this shot. I'm not sure how far off the beaten path he really is, but it does manage to punch out. Live gallery taking in the action.
Yeah, we have some rogue spectators. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, and you see them get out of the way as MJ's putt was rolling away. Here's Paul to save his par. This is a death putt.
I love if you're a spectator and you're ever face-to-face with Paul McBeth while he's putting, or any pro for that matter, just don't move. Don't be scratching your nose and texting your mom Happy Mother's Day, and just don't move.
Yeah, you will often see that. And I've said that in a number of videos. Our pros really don't mind that you're in their line.
Oh, no.
They just ask that you stand perfectly still for the few moments while they get up there and attempt their putt. And that's solid advice.
Yeah, I think it can feel really awkward, but it's even more awkward if you're like talking to your buddy and cracking jokes, thinking that no one can see you. Nice par from Chris.
Who's got the best jokes out in the gallery? Usually Hannah.
Oh, boy. I'm going to hurt your feeling. You know what? You do, Terry. It's you. You have the best joke.
No, whatever. We see the par by Evan. And the gallery will move on. This PDGA A-Tier taking place in Central, as I mentioned earlier. What are they doing on hole 11?
Hole 11, par 3, 260 feet, uphill all the way. Throwing something a little less stable than normal and just nice and flat, letting the disc stay on that nice flat line. Anything overstable is going to want to come out of it, so Paul's going to go with, I don't know, I'll get back to you.
Well, he's going to go with just barely missing that tree, but finding himself at least pin high. And it looks like he may have even filtered into the opening, so he'll have a window from over there.
Yeah, and this tee pad isn't the greatest. I love the size of it, but those mats are actually created to prevent slipping. And in disc golf, you kind of want your front foot to move. So they're not ideal. Hopefully we can get that switched out for the next time. But, I mean, not horrible.
Well, this looks like a great line by Evan. And just as he opened the round, he's going to have closest to the pin out of everyone on the group. Assuming MJ doesn't get inside of that.
You've been around the sport for a lot longer than I have, Terry. What are your opinions on those kinds of tee pads?
It's kind of funny that they all play a little bit different, as you were just mentioning. I've seen some rubber mats that are actually great, and they're phenomenal. I've seen some that can be really slick. And then you're saying that some are actually a little bit grippy. So I'm a big fan of concrete. I know a lot of our players will say that that will tear up their knee after many years of play, but...
Okay. Speaking of tearing it up.
Heyo. Chris Dickerson moves to 31 under. He's going to be within a stroke of Paul here. It looked like the wind maybe dropped that just a little bit at the end, but he still had it right on the pole. And he will maintain a 2-stroke advantage over Chris. MJ quickly getting up and firing in.
Yeah, Paul having to rely on those long putts to keep him in the lead. He's not really getting off the tee as clean as he would like. But if you can have a good stat, whether it's fairway or putts, you're usually able to be up at the top. So, unfortunately, he's not satisfied until he has both. So,
Well, Chris Dickerson's going to challenge it for sure, along with MJ. But here we are on hole 12. 450 feet, plays up toward the road. Once you clear the road, it filters off to this left-hand side to the down slope that we find over here on the basket of hole number 3
yeah,
in the other layout.
Off the tee, low ceiling, just trying to get it out straight onto the road or near it, just as you said. Anything past the road is bonus because you can see the basket for your second shot.
Paul pulled it tight left yesterday. Or earlier in the day, I should say.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That was looking so good, but unfortunately just tracks too far left in his OB.
Yeah, he really did get through the gap. I thought that was going to be a phenomenal shot, but as it just hyzered out and finished at the end, curled up into the out of bounds. We'll see what Chris can do. Oh, that tree kick really probably didn't help. But it doesn't look like it hurt him too bad either.
Yeah, he'll be able to see the basket from there. Not enough hyzer on that shot. He's going to get hung up on the right-hand side. Similar mistake from MJ. They are walking up right to left, which basically just widens the fairway that they're looking at. So they're looking to make that flex shot. And if you were to walk up straight and try to make that flex shot, it sort of cuts off the angle of your disc, makes things a little tighter. So good use of the tee pad, but just mistakes and mistakes. Not the time you want to be doing that.
Yeah, as we are here for this A-Tier, again, the 4th and final round taking place, playing over 2 days, and just a unique format overall. That's not something we see in this current climate of disc golf tournaments all too often. Usually it's 1 round a day, or occasionally there'll be 2 rounds in one day, and then it goes to 1 round like a Beaver State typically does. But this event, all 4 rounds over the span of just 2 days. For those a little older like myself, this did used to be actually a very common format for tournaments. This was playing 4 rounds over 2 days was not abnormal whatsoever back in my day, Hannah.
Good play from Chris there. Giving the disc some room to breathe after it hits the fairway and just trickle down towards the basket.
And this feels like it could be a little bit tempting for Paul.
Why do I feel like he's been in this position putting for, par save or birdie nearly the entire tournament? It's just those downhill, slightly out of position putts.
Well, and you see the sign there along with a couple of those trees. I'm guessing those are going to come into play now on his return putt as he's trying to save his par.
Then he's a drop. Oh, he's been coming in so close.
This is MJ with his ringer. Just a tickle of the chain.
Chris making light work of hole number 12. Coming in with the only birdie.
Yeah, he'll push to 32 under, and Paul's going to need this just to keep or maintain his one-stroke advantage. Very awkward stance for him.
See the wind picking up in the background.
He really does not like the position. Wow, and he's able to focus in and still make it happen. Very impressive. So it looks like quite a few struggles here on hole number 12, with the exception, of course, of Dickerson. And the battle will continue. We move over to hole 13. We're 2/3 of the way through the round. Huge shout out to Ish over at Down South Dis. What are they trying to do on this 415-footer?
Hole 13, par 3, 415 feet. Throw it nice and straight. Let it fade down towards the basket. Trouble on the left and right. Really small landing greens. So what we've seen previously is them hang something out right and at the last second come in. Maybe get hung up a little bit in that tall grass, but just avoid the OB on the far left and right behind the basket.
Yeah, if you're going to miss, you'd rather be to the right, where it's just tall trees or tall grass.
Wow, that was really well played. Wow, that was so good. I think the wind must have been down for his shot or something, because that just stayed on line the entire way and never wavered.
It looks a bit short. And there is a little bit of a plateau, and then it goes down into that lower lying area before it finds the OB. So he is safe of that. He's about pin high, but has some work to do from at least circle 2.
This looks like a good shot from Evan.
Yeah, really just on a line the whole way. Inside the circle. 26 feet, we'll call that. Get out your rangefinder and fight me if you want.
This is sort of the play that I was expecting, but it never hyzered back. But just hanging something out right over those trees, letting it trickle in.
Good run by MJ. You can see Paul putting slightly uphill.
Break in the wind here.
Oh, and you can actually see there is a whisker there, so just inside 33 feet. Solid putt to move to 34 under par.
Great birdie from Evan.
And these guys are really making it look easy. We know that MJ's line didn't really hook up at the end, and he still gave it a good bid, but the other three all right there for birdies. I don't typically just assume a dead straight 415-foot shot is going to play so easily, but our lead card getting it done.
Moving on to hole number 14.
I think Paul was going to look for some flowers to pick.
Aw. Hole 14, par 3, 275 feet. Just really want to hit your disc somewhere in this area, have it skip up towards the green. Trouble that we've seen is coming in a bit short, not getting up towards the basket, or finding trouble on the left and right of the fairway. MJ doing all of his Mother's Day texting.
Well, it looked like that maybe got a little carry off of one of the trees, but either way, he finds himself just outside the circle. And Chris Dickerson trying to put together back-to-back birdies. He sits one stroke behind this man, and it seems like they've distanced themselves right now from MJ.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was afraid of happening. So, still a relatively good shot. He'll have a putt from there, but Paul's been just not putting enough angle on that Luna, and I think maybe isn't as familiar with it. Like we said in previous rounds, they've been coming off of like the big courses, so I don't think he's had to throw it as often as he might have liked leading into this event, but puts way more angle on it than usual, and it's just a really stable run of Luna. It just won't budge.
Oh, and Evan looks like that's a great recovery shot just to walk away with the par. Here's Chris from just outside circle one. Hannah, plenty of clever names that were given for the whiskers. I asked that way earlier in the weekend. Do you have any other names for those?
No, I think whiskers is good. I think it's nice. Great putt from Chris. We are all tied up.
Paul will have a look, but first MJ. Count it.
$30 under par. That's a lot.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Paul's trying to get to 35 possibly.
Little too high.
Trying to drop it like it's hot, but instead he'll remain tied with Chris Dickerson. And just like that, things are all knotted up. And we just have 15 through 18 to play. Man, this is getting intense, all thanks to the Upstate Disc Golf Club, Brian, and the town of Central.
All right, so this hole is kind of a big deal. Hole 15, par 5, 1,040 feet, 1,040 feet, however you want to say it. 2 triple Mandos? Well, technically.
Kind of, at least double. So they have to throw through the power line stanchions as a mandatory, and then they have to get down to the next set and also throw through those. Mm-hmm. So it is a pair of, I heard it referred to as a pair of double Mandos, but I'm not sure where the height is in terms of if you have or haven't made the
now
Mando
I see
on the height.
It's just like 2 beams. Oh, that's trickled off to the left, and that's out of bounds. Yeah, that's really the biggest mistake that you can make here on this hole is just fading down too far left.
Yeah, at this point, all you're concerned about is making it through this initial mandatory.
Yeah, and even turning it over like MJ did, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, all you will be doing once you get through the Mando is setting yourself up to throw to the next power line stanchions. Paul frustrated that wasn't turning that one, or it isn't flipping over as much as he was hoping for. And
Wind really gets a hold of that one.
you really saw it push down hard, but at this point, you're just trying to lay up or get in position to go through the next set. And as we're watching the crowd and gallery, big shout out to everyone that made this event possible. Of course, Southern Wesleyan University, along with, I said, Brian and Todd, Dustin, doing some work on the drones. And Hannah, thank you. I was just going to be all by my lonesome doing commentary, which we know everyone loves.
I'm just wondering where MJ is going.
Unfortunately, I think the wind had other
MJ,
ideas.
Where are you going?
I think we heard MJ a moment ago say he had no idea that disc was going to do that. He had no anticipation whatsoever. So certainly some difficult wind reads here on the most open hole on the course.
Yeah, and a similar play. I'm like, you guys have to go through that next set of double Mandos.
It's almost like you should be out there giving them some advice.
Well, they're all better than me. So it's like, just because I know doesn't mean, yeah. I don't want to be that commentator. I'm really just thrown for a loop here. It's such a simple concept, like if I was there, I would just simply get more birdies.
Yeah. And less bogeys, right? And always
just
keep it out of bounds.
Simply keep it in bounds.
And you see how close Paul was to going out of bounds here.
Here he goes with this Luna again.
And very interesting play. He clearly was not trying to go through there. That flag denotes where the basket is in the short position, so they're not playing to it, but kind of surprising to see him not try and bite off a little bit more or possibly navigate through the Mando on that second shot.
Right.
So, dare I say, a little bit conservative almost.
Well, I think with the wind gusting as much as it has, just that putter spot. And it's also, this is playing as a par 4 for the men. So, it is a par 5.
It is when it's, I apologize. When it's in the 1,040-foot spot like it is now, they actually consider it a par 5.
Yes, and then you don't really need to bring that Mando into play. Wow. Yeah, just do that. Great scramble from Chris Dickerson. Brings himself into the circle.
And now Paul can really be aggressive. I understand exactly what he was doing in that he was laying up to this. It just somewhat surprised me. But
that wind is not going to let that fade. Oh, I lied.
Well, and you see that the wind is down there. It looks like it's actually blowing back up the fairway, so maybe that lifted it just a little bit more. It's really tough to tell what the wind is doing out there. It seems like every shot is doing something different.
If only we had a commentary team to tell us what the wind was doing.
Who's on the ground? Is there anyone out there on the ground? Nope.
That is the last thing that you want to happen on this hole. All you have to do is just approach the basket, and the wind just has other plans.
See the forehand here by MJ. And quite effective.
Making minis over there in the circle.
Let's keep it PG here. All right, Hannah?
Do you? Is that something that you've ever...
Yeah, I know.
Is that like a thing?
It is a thing. I know exactly what you're referencing. I'm just saying, this is a good, wholesome program here that I like to run.
When a driver and a putter love themselves, love each other very much.
Oh, wow. I'm just going to not go anywhere after that. All right, this is MJ from about 2 feet inside the circle.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Just do that.
Oh, that's not his disc. Okay, sorry.
No,
I'm like, MJ, you forgot. Okay. Guys, I'm really sorry. I'll see myself out.
To be fair, not only is this only your third time doing post-production commentary, it's been after a very long weekend of us commentating on live disc golf. But here's Paul. Wow,
Ooh,
answers.
Clutch putt for Paul inside. Just inside the circle.
Yeah, he moves to 35 under.
Ooh, that was so... Man, those downhill putts, then that's all OB back there. Crazy.
And Dickerson.
That was a great scramble from Chris.
I was just going to say,
that was incredible.
The fact that he still walked away with a par 5 and threw it out of bounds, way off on that left side, taking himself out of position, just huge props to doing everything right after making that initial mistake. And right now, Paul's got the 3-stroke lead and just a few holes left to play, 16 through 18. And here we are on the right side of hole number 16's fairway.
Good adjustment. The other day he landed on the left-hand side. Let's see if Chris can get it a little closer.
And looks to be about the same distance as it slides up. This is otherwise known as hole 7, the 500-foot downhill shot that has a different tee, but here in the Locomotive configuration, just 315, and MJ dials it in to just about 315. Wow.
Well, it's coming down to a good old-fashioned putting competition with Chris up first.
No wind to speak of. Chris trying to get to 35 under. And he does. See Paul's back foot just about at the circle 1, 10-meter mark.
Definitely an uncharacteristic miss from Paul.
Yeah. If you said, hey, let's put $100 down on this, more often than not, he's going to can that. So very surprising to see it. And maybe more importantly, that's going to keep him tied with Dickerson with just 2 holes left to play. Meanwhile, Evan cleans up for birdie. MJ will do the same. And you see that these guys have just separated themselves from the rest of the field, and really just comes down to who wants it more with 2 holes left to play. Hole 17, pretty straightforward. Literally straightforward. This used to have a goofy bend to it. Goofy's maybe not the right word. It used to have a tee that was back about 100 additional feet, and you're really just laying up to an area short of the water. And now with this straight ahead tee, you're going right at it, 345 uphill.
Oh.
And
Flirting
Dickerson,
with danger here on hole number 17.
doesn't quite flip up as much as he needed it to, so MJ's going to be fighting from the left side rough. Evan catching a little cabbage there as well. So Paul, seeing that Chris Dickerson has put himself pretty close to the pin, he's going to have to answer here if he wants to stay on track. And answer he does. Ooh. As Dylan gets out of the way. Huge shout out to Pastry Dyes and Dylan and Dustin, our cameramen throughout the weekend. 2 of them. You know, we speak of angle control, a little bit of speed, all the things you have to think about when throwing up to a hillside green, but Evan seems to have it all under control. Oh, and not able to get all the way through or to punch through the little gap that he had. MJ's got to do this work for his par.
That's a great putt. Not for the score that he wanted, but still a great putt.
Chris will have a somewhat awkward straddle stance here. It looks like those bushes behind him are sometimes, even when just a bush like that is tickling your leg or you can feel it just gently pressing on you, it can be distracting.
Some love for the crowd.
Little additional enthusiasm out here in Central. And Paul answers. They are knotted up at 36 under par, heading into the final hole of the tournament. It's a par 4, plenty of danger.
I just want to know why they call Chris the robot chicken. I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't either. Chick-fil-A would love to reach out and sponsor him, though. I know that much. Or they should be, at least.
Hole 18, par 4, 510 feet. Navigate your way through the fairway. It's very wooded at the beginning, and then it opens up. Most of the time we've seen, I think, like a putter off the tee, just something a little bit turned over.
Yeah, I feel like
Let it fade back.
there's 2 very different approaches. Either it's a little bit of a putter off the tee or a very aggressive roller.
Yeah,
I feel like they're 2 extremes.
I think Chris is lining that up again. He's just really going for it here.
You hear it catch that left side. You know, he had fought through that left side and actually was able to get up and down and walk away with a birdie in the previous round when he went with the roller. Mm-hmm. And now Paul, who is often finding himself on that far right side of the fairway, assuming he gets around it clean.
It's a great shot. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, exactly what you're looking to do. MJ says, I can do that as well. I think what's crazy to note is just how impactful 2 or 3 feet of this fairway can mean to you. Like being center cut or being maybe even 2 or 3 feet to the left can just really pinch things off for you.
Yeah.
Looks like Chris somehow either bounced out or kicked out and we just didn't see it. But if he were 3 feet to the left, it would be so much more of a difficult approach here. But now he's able to line up a backhand. Oh, and it catches one of the trees. And from way back there, the best he's looking at is a par, unless he can throw something in.
Look at those trees out near the basket. They're ripping.
Yeah, and I'll admit, Hannah, and to all the viewers, I cheated a little. I had to turn down some of the audio when we did get out here because the trees and the wind were really ripping at this point. So actually just turned things down. Turned down for what? Well, for wind.
Oh, boy. That was actually pretty smooth. And that's how you know that I need to see myself out. Because when I start liking your sense of humor, it's like, yikes.
All right. Well, here's Paul, just really in the driver's seat. Chris Dickerson is looking at a long putt for birdie. Paul can put this up next to the pin and put all the pressure on Chris to make his putt. And he's asking for it to sit, and it's flashing in front of the pin, but then carries about to circle's edge. Little so crucial as to who's going first. See what kind of pressures can be put on the other player. And Chris and Paul tied. If he makes this, he should at least be able to force a playoff.
Yeah, that tailwind just pushes it down. Never even gave it a chance, really, but it's tough to gauge what kind of height you need with the ripping tailwind like that.
Yeah, and I feel like he put plenty on it, and the wind just smacked it down.
Same with MJ.
Not today. So MJ looking at 31. This is Paul McBeth for the win.
Paul's going to have a right to left, clearly, from the flag.
We hear a little bit of it coming in.
So he's going to flirt with that right side a little bit, and he's going to trust that it will lift. This is a tough putt. It looks like the wind is changing directions a bit.
For the win, Paul McBeth on 18.
No lift. Yeah, no lift at all in that putt. And that's what's happening. It's just gusting out there, so it's not a consistent wind for a lot of these shots or a lot of these putts.
Wow, and Evan's going to finish strong. Great watching him play. Evan with a 28 under. We'll see how that finishes and where that places him overall. But the dunk by MJ, and with that, Chris Dickerson will tap in. He remains at 36. McBeth cannot close it out, and he will be at 36. We'll take a
They both win.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't think that's how it really works, but instead, we're going to stand down for just a moment as these guys will get ready, and they're going to head into a sudden death playoff. And Hannah, in case you haven't been in a sudden death playoff or you're not familiar.
Thank you, because I haven't. Thanks for letting everyone know.
Well, it's because you usually win outright?
Nope. Just never win.
Okay, well, if you find yourself in one, what that means is both players will go to the tee. In this case, they'll move to hole 1, and low score will win the tournament. And it's not a predetermined set of holes in this case. It is whoever takes the lowest score on the first possible hole will win the tournament outright. I mean, if you're a little more optimistic, I've heard some people call it sudden life. But
Aww.
yeah, I feel like, that. I mean, it's true, but all right.
Well, back on hole number 1, Chris Dickerson first to tee. He and Paul tied at 36 under par.
Yeah, 290 feet. We've seen them play this one throughout the weekend. This hole's remained consistent.
Now they just have everyone in the tournament watching them, not just a gallery.
Oh, no. Chris flirts with the OB line, but stays safe just by a few inches. Wow. And now Paul, knowing that Chris has at least a 30-footer, can apply a little bit of pressure, get it closer.
Oh, my gusty winds.
Paul going with the putter yet again, pushing that right side tree line, and he'll be closer. And there you see Chris.
Oh, don't step too far back, Chris.
And just as a rule clarification, you can step out of bounds when you're throwing your shot. You just cannot have a supporting point out of bounds. So you can initially have your foot there, but as you'll see, if someone like Chris were to putt, it'll lift up and off the OB line. Wow, what a clutch putt to potentially extend or outright win the playoff. McBeth still has a putt here. It's not exactly a tap in.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, and he answers. These guys mean business. So they will head over to hole number 2, and they will keep playing until someone finishes the round, until someone finishes the hole with a lower score.
So now Paul starts?
Yeah, they had
just alternate?
Yeah, they had a conversation as to who was going to have the honors, and I guess they determined that they would alternate.
Oh, there's me.
any hole. You're like a statue. Are you watching?
Yeah.
They determined they would alternate as they continued to push
Oh, no.
holes.
He has not been able to get this hole.
No.
He just hasn't.
I mean, if we're being blunt, he's now 0 for 5 in playing this hole.
Yeah, this hole is
at
not...
least the tee shot.
We don't... Yeah.
Wow, and you see the wind pick up. You got to imagine Chris is feeling a little bit different knowing that Paul has placed himself well out of position. And we see him go with the backhand, just like we did at the beginning of the round.
Yeah, nice and short of that tunnel. And again, just another simple shot for Chris. He's just keeping it really simple. Sometimes on technical fairways or wooded fairways with technical shots, that's all you want to do.
Yeah, try not to overthink or overplay it. We'll see what the wind has in mind, but that stops on the left side. However, it stays pretty much in the fairway, and I think that's crucial here. Meanwhile, Paul, he's going to come out and take a look.
He's going to have to get creative here.
Paul trying to just pick a point, also kind of seeing what the canopy looks like. I don't think he has too much. Yeah, there he okay, so now he's looking up, and not a shot you commonly see out of Paul is
no,
to go
and
with
not
an
a
overhand.
shot or an arm movement that he's had all day. So definitely want to make sure you're warmed up before you do something like this.
Yeah, and he does not get out. In fact, that doesn't go very far at all. So whatever you had for a line or a gap, unfortunately, doesn't seem that he hit it. So he's still off on the right side of the fairway. Now he's really got to make some magic happen. Wow, and that kicks back into the fairway. He's going to have a look to save his par. Speaking of magic, who's your favorite magician?
Meanwhile, in the fairway, Chris is just making light work of this hole.
And Chris going with the play, just knowing he has to put it up next to the pin. There's no sense in him running this.
Yeah, that's all he has to do. He's just played it really smart and broke down the hole into 4 simple shots. Never tried to bite off more than he could chew on this hole.
And here's Paul McBeth to extend the playoff.
Ooh, that camera shutter. She's loud.
And with that, Chris Dickerson taps in. And after the sudden death playoff, he is your champion. Hannah, thanks for joining. I'm going to catch up with our champion and Chris Dickerson.
Huk Central champion, Chris Dickerson.
Wow. What a hard-fought battle. Thanks again to all the supporters and sponsors, along with all the cameramen and Hannah McBeth.
Yeah, and congratulations to Chris on your new house and your victory.
I'm the disc golf guy, and that was my video blog. Chris, champion, took you 74 holes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sign up for that much of a battle this weekend?
I signed up for 2 less than that.
Well, it's pretty incredible. You going back and forth with Paul. Now, it's not common that we see you guys play back-to-back 2 rounds of 18. Is that any different for you?
It's a little different now that I've been playing on tour and getting used to the 1 round per day. I prefer the 2 rounds in a day, just waking up earlier, you know, doing this all day. But it's a breath of fresh air. Every now and then I have a tee time and have the rest of the day.
Coming into this, I've heard you've shot very well here, maybe even some course records. What's your success been like in the past, and what did you bring into this weekend?
Here, it's all about hitting lines. The majority of it's in the woods. The little bit of open is pretty windy. So, yeah, you just got to hit your lines out here.
Also, a weekend without your wife. She's normally out either taking pictures, but instead she's been at home. You guys have just settled in your new house.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be any better of a weekend for you?
Nope. I mean, only if she was here, but No.
All right. Anything you want to say to everybody out there?
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
All right. The man of many words, your champion here this weekend. We'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you.